All right, here's a story about the Lubavitcher Rebbe in the very beginning of his, well, here's a picture of Lubavitcher Rebbe in the very beginning of his leadership of the Chabad movement as the leader. There was a war in America called the Korean War. And North Korea invaded South Korea. And America said they had to help. We have to help stop the spread of communism. Now, the fact is, communism was a very evil force, and they really did want to conquer the whole world. And of course, today it's all the whole thing is in it's a big debate. Should we help them? Should we help anybody? Maybe we shouldn't have gotten involved in World War II and World War One. Shouldn't have, right? Pacifist. Anyway, we did get involved, and it was a good thing. So we got involved. But the Jews did not want to go. The Jews did not want to go into the war. Not all the Jews, of course, but there were Jews, especially the ones who sat and learned Torah. They wanted to sit and learn Torah. They didn't want to go to the war. And they didn't really feel any pressing need. They weren't being attacked or anything like that because the government decided. So anyway, whatever it was, so they didn't want to go into the war. So there was one young man that he was not from a Chassidic background, and he was not disposed favorably to the Chassidim at all, right? And he was very opposed to this whole, the attitude that Judaism has to has to influence the whole entire world, and every Jew has to be religious, and we have to learn our Torah, we have to leave our Torah learning and everything and go and try to influence other Jews that they should do the commandments. They didn't like all these ideas. They wanted Judaism as Judaism. You sit and learn, you go to heaven, and that's it. Anyway, so yeah, he wanted to go to heaven, but this one fellow, he did not want to go to the army. But what could he do? He already had been to the draft board, and they checked him out, and everything was okay. And he was supposed to be, go for his final checkup in just a couple of days, and he didn't know what to do. And he had letters from all these other doctors that he had tried before, and it didn't work. So somebody said, you go to Lubavitcher Rebbe. He said, no way, I'm not going to go to him. I have nothing to do with him. It's this spooky stuff, this Chassidic stuff. Who do they think they are? But he realized the date was coming closer and closer. He had no choice. So he went to the Lubavitcher Rebbe. And he said, this is the way I read the story. Maybe there's all these stories that I'm telling, there's different versions to all these stories, but this is the version that I heard. And if I didn't hear the different versions, I imagine there are other versions to the story. Anyway, but the gist of the story is the same. So he went to Lubavitcher Rebbe, and he made it very clear to the Rebbe that he did not believe in Rebbe's, and he didn't believe in Chassidut, and he didn't believe in the whole Chassidic movement and all these Chassidim and stuff like that. But he was desperate, and that he wants to get out of the army. So the Rebbe said, well, you have any problems with your back? He heard that the Rebbe gives all sorts of blessings, right? So he figured, okay. He said, oh yeah, I have a letter from a doctor. He said, but I already tried this, and it didn't work. But he figured the Rebbe will give a blessing, it'll work, The Rebbe said, no, not that. What about your eyes? So, oh yeah, here I got one second. I got these papers over here. Here I had a whole portfolio. I got it. Here, my eyes, I can. He said, but they didn't accept this before. And he said, well, what about your ears? What about your feet? What about this? He's got letters for everything. So the Rebbe said, well, what about your teeth? He said, no, my teeth I have absolutely no problems with. No problem. I couldn't even fake that. My teeth I have absolutely no problems. Never had a filling, never had anything. So the Rebbe said, okay, you go to the checkup and tell them you have troubles with your teeth. He said, but I don't have any troubles with it. I don't have any troubles. And the Rebbe just looked down, and that was it. So he went outside, and he thought, wow, what a fool I was, and to say these things against the Rebbe. And not only that, I see he can't help. This guy can't help me. Right? Nobody else helped me. God will help me. I'll just go and I'll see what's going to happen. But it was pretty sure that he was going to go in. Anyway, so he goes back to the draft board, and they bring him through all the checking. They check up his Ramach Avorim and his Shasag Gidim, his eyes and his ears and his nose and his mouth, and they check everything. So it's about the last the thing, they're about to stamp, inducted, and he yells out, my teeth. They said, what? My teeth, my teeth. So what's wrong with your teeth? He said, terrible. Don't ask. Terrible pains with my teeth. Problems you can't believe. Problems with my teeth. I can't think. I can't eat. I can't sleep. He made this whole thing. I said, what are you talking about here? You haven't. You were. They checked you. They didn't. You didn't say anything about your teeth. He said, I didn't say it. Because I want to go into the army. I want to serve my country, but my teeth, I can't do it. They say, okay, listen, we're going to send you to get checked up to the dentist. And if there's not anything wrong with your teeth, then we're going to send you to jail. And then after that, we're going to put you on the front line. Now let's see. They send it to the doctor. He thinks, whoa, what did I do? What did this Lubavitcher Rebbe do to me? He goes into the dentist's office, that sits down, and the dentist says, sit down on the chair. He sits on the chair, the dentist sits behind his desk. He's got his dentist chair and everything over in the corner. He says, looks at the papers, says, he says, your name is Grois, right? Groisman, you're a Jew, right? He says, yeah. He says, I see by looking at you. The dentist closes the door, kicks the door, closes the foot, says, we don't need you stinking Jews in the army. I know you people, you're a bunch of liars, a bunch of cheats, a bunch of thieves. You're going to complain about your teeth all the time. You're never going to be in the army. You're not going to do anything. You're going to be complaining all the time and be exempting from anything. We don't need scum like you in our army. He takes the thing and he stamps it, disqualified. Now get out of here. So he goes out. He's like in a dream. He's in a dream. He's disqualified. Everybody says, what's going on? He just shows in the paper, I'm disqualified. He walks out, takes the first taxi that he's got, and he drives the 770. Take me to 770. I want to say thank you to Lubavitcher Rebbe. He got me out of this. And so he goes to the secretary, and the secretary says, I'm sorry, first of all, if you want to get into the Rebbe, you're going to have to wait, for a while. And not only that, if the Rebbe would see everybody that he did a favor for, it would be, twice as long. Write a little note, say thank you to the Rebbe. I really appreciate it. And, I'm grateful to you, and I changed my whole mind about Chabad, and I'll give it to the Rebbe. So he said, okay. So he went into the Rebbe. The next time he had a chance, I guess it was Rabbi Groner, I don't know, went into the Rebbe, and he gave the Rebbe this little note that the fellow wrote, and the Rebbe had a big smile on his face. And he said, my father-in-law, the previous Rebbe, he did amazing miracles for people, revealed miracles for people. He said, but this fellow, but all the miracles that he did for people, he did them according to nature. A person would have a way out. Think maybe it wasn't a miracle. The person would decide on his own. So this fellow that came in, I saw that he was so incredibly, how do you say, closed up and thick spiritually, that if there was any possible way that he could explain this miracle according to nature, he would do it according to nature. He wouldn't say that it was God that did it. So I had to do a miracle that was totally incomprehensible. No way according to nature could it be understood. I said his teeth, there's nothing wrong with his teeth, but it just happened to be that. So what do we see? That the same thing what Mashiach is going to do. We're so thick, our generation, that God to do is the biggest miracles, and that's what happened to the Jewish people. He took them out of Egypt. He gave them the 10 plagues, split the sea, gave them bread from heaven, gave them the Torah on Mount Sinai. They all saw it. And 40 days later, they worshiped the golden calf. And miracles. So it's going to have to be that in the future, it's going to be such miracles that no one will have any doubt that God exists and that God loves us. And everyone from their own free will choose to serve the creator of the universe. And that's why we need Mashiach now. Have a good day. God bless you all. See you all tomorrow. Oh, we have a note over 1 second.